My question is, from the testimony, I found really interesting the aspect of generosity that we're going through this. Henry and Ingrid said that they were really lucky to find generous and kind people that welcomed them and stuff. And here we can see with the actual refugee crisis that we refer to Sweden as the country that takes the most refugee and the generous one. My question is, shouldn't we see the thing as not a problem of generosity but as a duty? Shouldn't we switch from a conception of generosity when welcoming refugees to a moral obligation and a moral duty to welcome them? And I'm thinking about the concept of responsibility to protect in law, and could we extend it to countries that welcome people? So couldn't we extend the responsibility to protect to our European countries? And we could, for example, fail to satisfy this requirement when not welcoming refugees? So that's my question.
Who would like to take over that? Thérèse?
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth actually, because I was thinking when you, that lady over there asked a question about how can you use a legal route to preempt and try and stop something. And I think what's interesting is this refugee crisis has been a crisis for 3-4 years now. The Human Rights Council did a report on this, and that's a legal route. In 2012 investigated what was going on in Syria. And we always think, and it's interesting to see when David Cameron invokes responsibility to protect, because it's for the purposes of airstrikes, it's for purposes of military action. And in fact, everyone always forgets the other pillars of responsibility to protect. And I'm not keen on this doctrine, and I'm not keen on it because it's used for military purposes. But if you look at the other pillars, one of them is to protect, to preempt, to stop it becoming, to stop the spiral. And so if we're going to use one pillar, which is the least attractive, let's look at the other pillars. And if we think that there is legal liability under one for failing to bomb, then shouldn't there be legal liability for failing to act on the findings of the Human Rights Council of 4 years ago, and in the light of chemical weapons use? So that I think.
So is there any political or legal investment toward this direction, actually, right now?
No. I think, I like the sentiment, but it's, to be brutally honest, it's fairly naive. Because...
It's a question.
Yes, I know, and that's also why I'm saying it this way. Laws are made by states. Laws in Europe are made by democratic states, and they are not going to pass any laws that are not popular. I'm afraid that migrants or human beings fleeing are not popular at the moment, so there's not going to be any laws that's going to be helping them. So you have to find another way, I'm afraid.
Unless you think it's already custom, and for the international lawyers in the room, that's the implication, the potential implication of custom. Yeah.
Well, just to finish off that point, from my own perspective as a practicing lawyer working with migrant children and young people here, we see every day failure to properly respect their human rights, basic human rights that you and I share. For example, asylum seeker accommodation. Myself and Gary both have acute understanding, well, probably none more so than Amal, of course, but acute understanding of actually how terrible it can be. Now, that is a basic right to adequate housing, and it's up to lawyers, when they don't quite have that legal route, presenting in front of them to find other ways, and for the most part, we try our very best and are successful, but all the rights that we all enjoy in Scotland as citizens are enjoyed by anybody in the UK on the basis that they're human beings. And so we use those, not specifically migrant rights, but we use those to try and ensure the protection that they need. So I'm going to finish off, because I know that we're running slightly over time, sorry Laura, and I'm going to ask Gary, Carol and Ray to just give some concluding reflections on this session, and if I could ask that you do try and keep it to a few minutes, if that's okay.
Okay, I'll be very quick. I'll just make a couple of points. I think what the testimonies and the discussions that we've had, there needs to be more of a focus on push factors. Why do people flee in the first place? The discourse in the EU and the UK has been very much about pull factors, why people would choose particularly to come to this country. And this is why we're seeing a dismantling of the European system, because each EU state is wanting to be tougher on asylum seekers, to push them to another state for them to accept them. The Danish example is just one example of that, and asylum accommodation, all the other issues in the UK is an example that we have that here. So I think we always must, and there is complexities, but focus on why people are moving in the first place. I'd say the importance of welcome, both on an individual level and a state level. One of the things we were asked to do by the Scottish Government very quickly in September was to set up the Scotland Welcomes Refugees website as a sort of hub for individuals to put forward what they would be prepared to do to assist refugees. And we've had around about 4,000 offers of support. And when you look at them in detail, they are absolutely fantastic and brilliant. And